Hello everyone, Briximus Prime back for another Marvel Legends action figure video, and today we're looking at the Spider-Man, Gamerverse, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2. Well, specifically the Miles Morales is from the Miles Morales video game, and the Spider-Man is from Spider-Man 2. But anyway, let's just get into the figures. The first thing you will notice here with the packaging is we have the superior packaging and the inferior packaging. They've got Spider-Man on the front, they've got the Spider-Man logo, they've got Spider-Man on the side, on the back they've got images and product shots right here. Miles has a bit of a description. When a fierce power struggle threatens to destroy his new home, Miles Morales realizes that with great power, there must also be great prices.
That's not even how the saying goes.
Let's just get right on into the actual figures. Honestly, either one doesn't really matter to me. They both go in the trash! And now let's get into the accessories. First we'll start with Miles Morales, then we'll go into Spider-Man. Miles Morales here comes with a nice unmasked head. I like the haircut here, and again, it doesn't look exactly like him in the game, but I think it's close enough. My only problem is the ball joint hole right here is a little too small, so I probably would have to heat this up to get it onto his head, so I'm not going to attempt to try and put this on him right now, but I did just want to mention it is a bit of a tight fit.
That's what she said.
In terms of hands, Miles comes with the standard web-whipping hands. He also comes with the traditional fisted hands. And then he comes with some wall-crawling hands, which I really love wall-crawling hands and how expressive they are, because as you can see, they kind of look more like jazz hands. I like how wall-crawling hands can have kind of multiple uses. And then by far his coolest accessory, his Venom Punch...
No, not that Venom.
Electro hands.
No, not that Electro.
The only thing, though, is they're not fists, they're open hands, so it's not really a Venom Punch, but I still love these accessories nonetheless. I've really got to hand it to Hasbro. They really nailed some of Miles' accessories. The only thing he's missing is some web effects, which thankfully Spider-Man does come with a plentiful amount of web effects right here. He comes with this web effect right here done in a transparent plastic, and this one is used to kind of strap around the shoulders of certain enemies and figures. And then he's just got some standard, like web splatters right here. And then he has this one, which is specifically used for like strapping onto like someone's face or on their head. And I've actually used this one kind of a lot. And then he just comes with a standard web strand that you kind of wrap on somewhere, and it's got a handle for someone to swing. But something weird about this, though, with the Peter Parker, is he comes with an accessory to grab, and yet out of all the hands he comes with, he has no grabby hand.
What?
Peter comes with the traditional pair of fists, but what's really weird is Peter only comes with the one web-whipping hand?
What?
And then he only comes with the one wall-crawling open hand.
What the f-
I mean, you could borrow some extra hands from the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man, but the shade of red here is just a little bit off, and also you're missing that white backing like that's on the back of his other hands. But now with the accessories out of the way, let's get on into the actual figures themselves, starting with Miles. Now, someone does really gotta say it, even though I do love traditional Spider-Man, you have to admit Miles having his suit in black and red is really awesome. And Miles definitely nails the look here, especially with the webbing right here, and it's all molded in, it's not printed on unlike other figures. And also, I'm glad that I did get a lot of really great paint apps. The white eyes here come out very cleanly, and of course, a lot of the webs are
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
And I really love the way how this figure came out. Like, it's not just a good video game design, it's also just a really good, just generic kind of Miles figure, too. I like the kind of matte finish on here, like the kind of more leathery kind of matte finish on his suit. And again, it's complemented by that nice cherry red, almost maroon kind of red paint right there. And again, looks really good, and the figure also has the pinless joints, which again is also very much appreciated. And overall, I think this guy looks pretty good. I love all the webbing, the paint apps, but the posability also really stands out. He's got a double ball-jointed neck, which allows for his head to look up that far and down that far. Head can pivot all over the place. Shoulders rotate a full 360. He does get some very nice butterfly joint movement. Bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbows. Wrists do rotate and hinge up and down. That's basically with all of his hands. He does get an arching back, an ab crunch. He does get a waist swivel. His hips can move forward. They can move back not that far. They can move outward that far. He does get a nice thigh swivel. Double jointed pinless knees. And then he also has his ankles. His ankles can move up. They can move down. And he does get some very nice ankle pivot and some peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So overall, a really good figure here of Miles, and I don't know what it is, but the plastic here feels really good. Like, the plastic on Miles feels really durable, and like I feel like I can be playing with this guy all the time, and he's not going to break. Sadly, I can't say the same about Peter here.
Peter's always breaking in one way or another.
Overall, I like the Peter Parker design, but again, this does kind of invoke that same thing I was mentioning before, how he has less of a matte finish and more of the glossy kind of toyetic red, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, that's how most Spider-Man figures kind of look anyway. And I do love how his eyes aren't like really wide open, like he's surprised. Like, he looks determined, but the one thing I'm a little bit down on is I don't think this is a very good shade of blue. I think this is a good shade of blue for the first suit that Peter Parker had in the first game, because it did have that kind of not as saturated blue, but in the second game I feel like the blue is a lot more saturated this time around. I also love all the little extra highlights, like with all of the webbing and the extra little white panel lines throughout this guy. Again, very nice paint apps along with some of the white. Gives a little bit of extra highlight to this figure, especially since it looks almost like every other Spider-Man design. He's got peg holes at the bottom of the feet. And yeah, overall, he looks pretty standard for Spider-Man and a video game Spider-Man. The only thing is, I don't like the plastic quality here, because like it just feels like it's gonna rip at the bicep, or it feels like the elbows were a little too tight out of the box, and he even had a calf that was really tight, and I had to go in and really heat it up, and it works fine now, but I guarantee you before, it felt like I was gonna rip it right off. But getting into the actual posability, he does have a double ball joint at the neck, which allows him to look up that far and down that far, head pivoting from side to side, basically the same thing as Miles. Shoulders can rotate a full 360, they can move in and out. Again, I'm being very careful about that bicep, because the shoulder joint is so tight and the bicep feels so fragile that when I try to move it, it feels like I could rip off the bicep while moving the arm out. He does have some butterfly joint movement, which feels a little better than Miles, but as you can see, paint chipping. He does have double jointed elbows, which don't bend in as far as Miles, but they are pinless like Miles. All of his wrists can rotate and hinge up and down. He does get a diaphragm joint, which moves all over the place. He allows for diaphragm pivot, arching back, crunch, waist swiveling. He also has an extra diaphragm joint down here, which allows for really far arching back. Are you kidding? He's got two joints in there to allow for his back to arch way far back and way far forward. And then his hips, he has the shifting drop down hips thing, just like the Renew Your Vows figure, which allows for his kicks to go pretty far. They can not really kick back all that far. He can move his legs outward, but if you rotate the hip joint, they move out a whole lot farther. He does get a thigh swivel, double jointed pinless knees, which do bend in pretty far. Again, previously mentioned boot calf swivel. Ankles can move up, ankles can move down, ankles can ankle pivot. And then finally he gets, oh my god, toe articulation. So either way, both of the figures still look really good. I still love the Spider-Man, and he poses around really well. And same thing goes for Spider-Man Miles Morales. He also poses around really well. He doesn't have those extra diaphragm joints like Peter does, or the bendable toes, but he is still a pretty good Miles Morales figure. And honestly, I don't think I really need to pick up the newer one, because I think this Miles still holds up pretty well. The only thing I really need is the blue lightning effects, because in the new game it's a different color, but Besides that, I still really love the way how he feels a lot better, and feel definitely makes a big difference for me. And now for comparisons, here is Spider-Man and Spider-Man with... Was the toe articulation worth it? For comparisons, here they are with Mr. Negative. Here they are with the only other Gamer Edition Spider-Man I have, the Velocity Suit Peter Parker Spider-Man. Come on, just stand. Just stand! And then here they are with the Marvel Legends Lizard for comparisons. And then here they are compared next to the Marvel Legends King in Black Venom. I feel like this is a good Venom to use to take pictures with these guys. And that is basically it for my review on the Marvel Legends Peter Parker Spider-Man and the, Gamer Edition Miles Morales. So yeah, the thing is, I'm not really too big on the Peter Parker. Now, I do still love the figure. I do still like him, but I can't just help but feel like the level of quality between the Miles and the Peter is just vastly different. The Peter just feels like the plastic's gonna rip, or I could easily ruin the figure, where the Miles feels like a really sturdy action figure, but I feel like I got more bang for my buck with Miles than I did with Peter. Now, I do think Peter does have the great articulation and everything that I loved about the Renew Your Vows of Spider-Man, but again, the Miles just feels like he has a lot more mileage to him. But yeah, they look great when I pose them around with Venom and the Lizard and Mr. Negative. They look great. I love how the figures look, and I do still really like them. But the biggest fault I have on these is the accessories. The Peter Parker not coming with any grabby hands, or even another web hand, or another wall crawling hand, is just ridiculous to me. That's like Spider-Man 101. That's like the bare basic hands that Spider-Man should always have, and yet they managed to drop the ball on that. Miles came with all of it. Miles may not have come with all the web effects, but at least he came with the alternate hands. And heck, he even came with a unmasked head. The Peter Parker figure didn't even come with one. So overall, if I had to give these figures a rating, I give the Spider-Man a solid 7 out of 10, or maybe closer to an 8, and the Miles I give a solid 9. So anyway, that's basically it for this review. If you liked it, give me a like on the video, comment down below what you guys think, subscribe to the channel for more action figure videos, and I'll catch you guys next time.